Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Prabhu Dandatanam. Welcome you all to Gita again. Gita daily, about Gita discussion session, 15 minutes. So let's get started. So we'll start with the prayers. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिनि नमस्ते सारस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Pati Kripa Sindhu Bhivija Vajana Bhavani Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namo. So yeah, Prabhu Smadhi. So we are in the chapter 18 now. So the conclusion. So conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. So every day we are discussing one slokas, each slokas. So today's sloka will be, text will be 18th chapter, 21st verse. Let me receive this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. पृथक्त्वेन तु यज्ञानं नानभावान् पृथग्विधान् वेत्ति सर्वेषु भूतेषु तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि राजसम्. Repeat. पृथक्त्वेन तु यज्ञानं नानाभावान् पृथग्विधान् वेत्ति सर्वेषु भूतेषु तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि राजसम्. Can someone please read the translation? Mataji's Prabhu, anybody? Hare Krishna. Kamala Mataji, Amrita Mataji, can one of you please read the translation?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. That knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there is different type of living entity. You should understand to be in the mode of passion. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So let's discuss about this verse. So this, it's in the previous verse. It speaks about the knowledge in the mode of goodness, and now it is a knowledge in the mode of passion. So the knowledge in the mode of passion is we see different bodies. Okay, this body, that body. We distinguish, we differentiate. The first knowledge where we saw that we don't differentiate. We see that okay, all the living entities, they all have a common factor, that they all have Paramatma within them. So there's Lord is present within them. We're all children of God. We see that. So if you see the 18th sloka, fifth chapter, 18th sloka, in that, yeah, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Gavi Hastini, Shuni Chaiva Swapakaja, Panditaha Samadarshina. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater outcast. So he sees equally. So Samadarshina, equal vision. So like that, who has the real knowledge. So in the knowledge of goodness, we have that. Okay, we see everyone equally. We all okay, we all have a common factor. We are all having a Paramatma within us. That is, Lord Himself is there within us. We are all part and parcel of the Lord. So we see everyone equally. But in this, uh, the knowledge in the mode of passion. Here, what is there is different bodies. Okay, uh, different bodies are there. Okay, so the first point itself, which we learned in the Bhakti Riksha, that difference between the animal and human, that inquiring, and the first point, that who am I? Who am I? So we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. That first point itself is misguided here. That okay, in this type of knowledge, in the mode of passion, what happens is okay, we identify ourselves with the body. Okay, the soul is connected with the body, and the body dies, soul is over, everything is over, chapter closed, and the next body, the everything is the body. There's no separate concept of soul there. So here, Srila Prabhupada explains this is the uh, uh, knowledge in the mode of passion, where everything is, we say earlier, the Dehatma Buddhi. So we are, this real knowledge should be that we are not this body, we are the spiritual. But in the absence of that knowledge, it becomes the mode of passion, where we identify ourselves with the body. Okay, this is the body. With the body, when the body is destroyed, okay, at the age of 70, 80, 90, when this body is gone, then everything is gone. There's no separate entity as called as soul. So that is the mode of passion. So if we see the same thing, Lord has said in the second chapter. So we see the 18th chapter is the conclusion. So earlier, Lord has said the same thing. So he has given the same knowledge in the second chapter. The second chapter, initially, he has given this knowledge, and throughout, he is explaining it over and over again in different ways. He is explaining to Arjuna. And finally, in the 18th chapter, he concludes. So in the second chapter, if we go through, first he says about uh, analytical study of the body and the soul. So he says about Sankhya philosophy. Then at the end, he says, okay, uh, uh, now till now I was told about analytical study. Let me tell about working without getting the results. That is, without getting attached, without being bound to this material world. So there, second chapter, 39th verse onwards, he speaks. He says, Neha Bikramanaşosti pratyavayona vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. And he says about uh, one who is fixed and one who is not fixed, who has determination. So he says one who is fixed in this path, he will not go behind. When we have the idea is clear that okay, the path is clear, I have to go from point A to point B. I'll either ask someone, okay, which is the shortest, which is the easiest path where I'll not get deviated. So we follow that path. Like that, we likewise we follow Bhagavad Gita and the instructions of Bhagavad Gita given to us by Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara. And by the mercy of all the Vaishnavas, we are able to hear it, we are able to read it, so that we understand that and we follow the path directly. Otherwise, what happens? We, on our own endeavor, you don't want anybody's help. Okay, I am a very great person. I know everything. Let me start reading this Veda, that Veda. I start reading here and there. Then it's getting that is many branched. That focuses in different direction. Sometimes here, sometimes there. The Vedas, there are some words. Okay, do this, you'll get this result. Do that, you'll get that result. So in the flowery words, it is there. So the flowery words, we may get uh, carried away from the actual path. We may get misguided and we may reach some other destination. Instead of going from A to B, I may reach from A to C. The whatever wherever I wanted to go, I'm not reaching there. But on the way, some point I got deviated and totally misguided. So I couldn't reach the destination. So our destination should be to reach the spiritual world, not continue in the material world. The Lord is saying that okay, people may get misguided, and that the whole purpose, the whole Veda is only it only talks about the modes of material nature. He says the Vedas mainly deal with the subject of three modes of material nature. In 2.45, it says Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna, Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasto, Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. So the Vedas deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature, O Arjuna. Become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So he says there in 2.45, second chapter, he says, in the introduction part, he says, again in the conclusion, he's saying about the three modes. So in the introduction part itself, in the second chapter, he says that Vedas mainly deal with the three modes of material nature and different actions. Okay, you do this, you get this result. It's all about result and action and everything. So the Vedas mainly deal with this, and the essence of the Vedas, Lord says, either you go through all the Vedas and finally understand me, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, that stage when you are liberated finally. But it is very long process. We may get misguided. We may end up in some other destination. We may fall into the vicious cycle over and over again. This birth, death, old age, and disease. We may fall into this vicious cycle of repeated birth and death over and over again. We may not achieve our destination. We may not be able to go to the spiritual world. We may fall again and again within this material world and suffer the dukhalam ashashvatam. Continuously we'll suffer in this material world. So it's up to us that we identify, not only just identify, but remind ourselves over and over again. So it's not just okay, no, okay, with bhakti I can reach the ultimate. So okay, that knowledge is enough. We have to practice that also. We have to daily practice that. So we are all joining together daily. We are discussing on Bhagavad Gita. We are chanting our rounds. We are doing arati. We are hearing lectures, we are reading the scriptures. That way, we are daily practicing that. We are reminding ourselves over and over again that I should not fall into the wrong path. So, if we don't remind ourselves, slowly over a period of time, what happens? Okay, from goodness to passion, and from passion to ignorance. That ignorance knowledge is there in the next verse, the 22nd verse. It says about knowledge in the mode of ignorance also. So the highest the knowledge would be to see everyone equally, that equal vision, to see everyone equally. Okay, everyone is a part and parcel of the Lord. And otherwise, if we are lacking that knowledge, then eventually what happens? The next level, okay, different bodies are there. Okay, there's no soul. There's all the body, with the destruction of the body, everything is done. Such knowledge is there. That is a mode of passion. No, Lord is stating all this knowledge. The 2.45 we saw that Lord is saying transcend these three modes. So we see from 14th chapter, 17th chapter, now in 18th chapter also, he is speaking of the three modes of material nature. In 14th chapter, he says clearly, okay, what are the qualities, the characteristics, then what happens, what result we will get if we perform action in three of the modes, then our next destination after leaving this body, where we can go. And then further, in the 17th chapter, he speaks about charity, austerity, penances, different things, food habits in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, if further speaks. Now here in 18th chapter, from 18th sloka onwards, he gives the clear uh, uh, distinction, that we should not differentiation, that we should not consider ourselves to be the doer. So here in 18th verse, there is the motivators of action is given, that is jnanam, nyayam, and parijnata. No knowledge, object of knowledge, and knower. And three constituents of action is karma, karanam, and karta. So these three uh, motivators of action, and three constituents of action he mentioned. And then further he explains some of these. He explains. So first is the jnana aspect of it, the knowledge part of it. He explains in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, how the jnana will be. Then the karma part of it, how the karma will be in the three modes. Then the karta, the doer of the activity, how the three modes it will be. Then there's of buddhi, intelligence in three modes. Then there is to speak of determination, driti, buddhi, driti, and final comes sukham, happiness. So in that he covers all that. Mode of goodness, mode of passion. It's like a table if we make mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, and each items we can write down. So first he speaks about this. Uh, 14th he speaks about the characteristics, then the results, then the destination where we can go, then how it is binding us. So what are the result and how it is binding us. Then the 17th, different food habits, then different charity in different modes, then austerity, penance, different things he speaks of. Then in the 18th now he says about jnana. So this jnana, it's as we know, the three split of Bhagavad Gita. If we take 18th chapter, if we split into three, the last six is giving us the jnana, the knowledge aspect. So we have to have that knowledge. So this knowledge should help us to perform the previous six chapters, 7 to 12. That's the bhakti aspect. So to perform devotional service, to try to please the Lord. So whatever knowledge is required, that is given in the last six chapters. So this knowledge itself, this whatever we are discussing, the jnana in the mode of three goodness, and the overall the entire knowledge. So it all should help us, and in a way that we should identify, okay, whatever knowledge I'm having, whatever intelligence I'm having, whatever karma, whatever action I'm doing, or whatever characteristics I'm having, okay, we have to identify ourselves, analyze, okay, and into mode of ignorance. So I have to raise about mode of passion, then raise about to mode of goodness. Now, Lord says, not just these three. These three are also all these three. Though the mode of goodness is the best compared to the other two in the Lord. So in the three, the mode of goodness is the best, but it is not the highest. There is something beyond that. So Arjuna, you transcend the three modes. He said. So to explain that point in 2.45 years, transcend these three modes. So that three modes, what are these three modes? And in detail, elaborately, he's explaining everything in the 14th, 17th, and the 18th chapter is explaining that. So the real knowledge. So by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are getting this knowledge daily. That we in almost all the verses we get to see that what is the this is the what material world. Dukhalayam Ashashvatam, and we are not this body, we are the soul, we have to surrender to the Lord, we have to serve the Lord. So over and over again we are reminding ourselves that we are not this body, we are the soul. So if we don't remind ourselves, then slowly what happens? From goodness we will fall down to passion, then from passion we fall down to ignorance. As a result, we know if we are leading an ignorant life, accordingly we'll get the next body. So if we are preparing like that in an ignorant way, we are using this lifetime, this chance, then the next chance we get maybe a worser this thing in the animal kingdom. So you have to be prepared. So this is the queue. So in the queue for some billing, we are standing in a queue. Say 10 people are there in the queue. We are the 11th one. So we slowly the first person left, second left, and then we approach towards the billing counter. And if we forget something, or if we forget something, some transaction is failing or something, then we'll have to go again and stand in the queue. Or we take something and take a new item and come for billing, they'll say, no, you have to go behind. So like that, we have this 84 lakh species of life. We are human life is the highest in the front line in the queue. So in the queue, if we don't use this chance wisely and get this billing done and go to the spiritual world, go to the Lord and serve Him, not just going to the spiritual world, but to serve Him nicely. If you don't utilize this opportunity, then we'll have to go back in the queue. Don't know how many people are there behind the 84 lakh species. The queue is there, so we have to wisely utilize this opportunity that we are in the first of the queue. So thank you, Prabhu Mataji's, for joining and inspiring all of us to continue. Thank you, Prabhu Mataji. So please unmute once, all of you. Let's chant one time Hare Krishna Mantra together, please. Hare Krishna Mataji. Prabhu. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Mataji Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Amrita Mataji.
Hare
Is
Krishna,
it Sumantra
Prabhuji.
Mataji, iPhone name?
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Mataji, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna, Dandavat,
Hare
Dandavat.
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Kalyani
Prabhuji,
Mataji,
Dandavat
Preeti
Pranam.
Maji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Kalyani Maji, Hare Krishna, Kamala Maji, Hare Krishna, Ruby Maji, Hare Krishna, Ratna Mala Mataji, Hare Krishna, Ruby Maji, Manjula Maji, Hare Krishna, Manisha Maji, Komala Maji, Hare Krishna, Chetan Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Preeti Maji, Indra Maji, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Prabhu Maji,
Prabhuji.
Dandavat
Thank
Hare
you,
Pranam.
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Dandavat
Prabhuji,
Pranam. Hare
Dandavat
Krishna,
Pranam.
Prabhuji.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Mataji,
Hare
Vanshal
Krishna, Dandavat
Kalpatarushya,
Pranam.
Kripasan Devyacha, Patitanam Bhavya Vaishnavya Namo Namah, Padit Vanshal Prabhupada ki jai, Iskon Guru Vrinda ki jai, Upasit Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Mataji Prabhu. Hare Krishna. With all your permission, I take the meeting. See you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna.